Starting, and we are live. Hold on.
Hold on to what?
This is why, because I hate my life.
We're gonna get a copyright strike, damn it, and we're not gonna be able to do any more of these.
There it is, and that's the end of the show. Cut after 2 seconds. It's a record.
I've done this before and haven't gotten a copyright strike, so I think we're good.
Okay.
Right, but God damn it. But the Gens Rise video was out for over a year and a half before he got a copyright strike on it.
Hey guys, welcome to the Star Wars Legends podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy from Stupid Chainsaw Productions. I got my other host, Dylan, who, talked about how he hates his life as usual. And we got Matt Wilkins with us today, so our views will double. And I can make lots of money off of him.
Can we turn off that god-awful bracket that's like only cutting out because my internet's so shitty?
Dylan, it's not my fault you have terrible internet wherever you live.
Well.
Oh, and Buddy's with us. Buddy, are you going to actually cooperate? No. I got a kitten, everyone. Just to let you know, if you don't...
Yeah, because his other 3 died.
The other 2, you dickwad.
Friends don't let friends read new canon.
Exactly. Matt will tell you this. This is actually an intervention for Jeremy because he always talks about his, the new canon on this podcast, which is called Star Wars Legends podcast. So that was the real reason we wanted to do this podcast today, Jeremy. Not because I wanted to talk about Armada, which I do, but because, look, it's eating you, man. We can all see it. We're here because we love you, man. But this new canon is it's just tearing us all apart. You got to let it go, man. You got to stop. You got to stop taking it, because.
All I heard was, "I'm John Sadler. Call me the filthy casual. I'm John Sadler. I don't like anything and can't get along with anyone. I can't talk to women. Blah, 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 blah."
People are actually going to start thinking I am John Sadler.
Oh, you're not?
No, Matt. Matt, what do you have to say about all this?
Well,
I know you're here. You're here for the intervention, too.
I actually I didn't want to break up the lover's spat, so I was just letting it continue going on. But no, I think it's funny because, prior to going on the podcast, I was told that someone who has read the books and the new comics for the longest has finally given up. And I hear this from a lot of well-meaning people who say, I just could not go any further. And I just have to wonder, Jeremy, do you truly enjoy some of this, which is fine if you do, or are you just a glutton for punishment?
I'm a little of both, actually, because I do enjoy one series, Poe Dameron. I'm really getting into that because it's different. It's territory they never tread on. But when they tread on territory that I loved in the EU, I cringe. Like today I reviewed Skywalker Strikes, which is not a good book but has beautiful art. And beautiful art doesn't cut it. I enjoy Poe Dameron a lot because it's got unconventional comic book art. And it's an unconventional Marvel Star Wars story. Oh, Buddy, you want up? Oh, good boy. Hey, everyone. It's Buddy's first appearance on the show. Yeah. Mark it on your calendars. This was the first appearance of Buddy. Maybe only appearance.
The first appearance of Buddy going to, go up in value?
This podcast will double in views. This is the one time I actually played music on here and Dylan got mad.
It's because it's not licensed. I don't want your content getting shut down. Again, Gens Rise already got...
Back channel.
It's only been a few minutes into this, and I feel that we've covered nothing.
Okay, let's get into... Let's begin. Dylan, talk about Armada while Matt and I ignore you.
No, I want to hear about Armada, Dylan.
So,
As you know, the fourth wave got announced. It was shortly after the third wave. And Dylan, you have
the third wave was announced. When was it? It was announced earlier this year.
okay.
And in the third wave of Armada, I talked about this on one of the other ones, that I was very disappointed, not in the fact that there was new canon in the Armada, which I knew they would anyway, so I know it's going to happen, so I'd already prepared myself for that.
Time out
But
right there. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm a Kanye West to you. I'm going to let you finish, but first, Jeremy, is it kind of weird that he's talking about he's supporting a game that supports the new canon, but yet he gets on to you about reading the new canon? Jeremy, do you want to respond to that?
Well, the difference
I don't
is...
have to, because he's made a hypocrite out of himself. I don't really have to.
The difference is one expansion out of, let's see, 12 that are currently out, and we're getting 4 more. So that's one expansion out of 16 that has new canon in it. The other 15, which I'm not going to buy the expansion with the new canon in it, the other 15 are completely free of new canon, which is all I'm going to be interested in. But anyway, back to my original point on Wave 3 was the fact that all we were getting was 2 ships, which were going to be the Flotilla, which was a new class of ship. Now, I liked the idea of the Flotilla. Excuse me. I liked that it was continuing to develop the game. But in Wave 3, all we were getting was 2 ships. When in Wave 2, we got 4 new ships and a new fighter squadron. And in Wave 1, we got 5 ships and 2 fighter squadrons. 3 of the ships were in the original game, the original core set, so 2 new ships and 2 new fighter squadrons. It felt like Wave 3 was just like... Basically, it felt like if you're getting a game, right? We had like a video game, and like the first DLC comes out, and it adds 50% more levels, like single-player story missions, as well as like 5 or 6 new multiplayer maps and a bunch of new features. Then another wave comes out, and it's like the same amount of multiplayer maps, like 4 or 5 new multiplayer maps, like even more solo player missions. So essentially, the 2 expansions alone, or DLCs alone, double the amount of mission overall game had. DLC comes out, and it's just like, okay, and here's a multiplayer level. It's like, you've given us so much with the first 2, and then you're shortchanging us with the third one by giving us hardly anything. That was my problem with it. Well, Wave 4 was announced a few days ago. And in Wave 4, it's going to have the new interdictors for the rebellions, with the Free Imperials, which I'm really excited about, because not only is it going to be a brand new ship, but it looks like it's going to fix, not really a problem, but something that happens in a lot of games I see, which is where it becomes a game of the Imperials trying to do like a slugging match kind of game, while the rebels are kind of dancing around the edges and like coming in and out and doing like hit and run style attacks. Well, the interdictor looks like it's going to be able to negate the rebels' ability to hit and run, which will kind of balance the game. Well, at the same time, the rebels are getting a Liberator class Mon Calamari cruiser, which will give them now a second ship that can go toe-to-toe with Star Destroyers and trade blows. So, which opens up more possibilities to the game, and kind of, in my opinion, it's going to revolutionize the metagame and have a lot more, not only options for fleet building, but options how the strategy can go. But what's interesting about it is that Wave 4 was announced a few months after Wave 3 was announced. And I know I'm not the only one who complained, who said that we're getting nothing in Wave 3. Why are we only getting 2 ships? Well, if you also look before they announced Wave 4, they did a previews where they both went in depth of what's coming into the 2 Wave 3 ships. And they said in the previews that Wave 3 would going to hit shelves late third quarter. And then Wave 4 comes out, and they're also going to hit shelves late third quarter. In fact, if you look at on Fantasy Flight websites, on the product codes on them, the Wave 4 ships, their product codes are lower numbers than the Wave 3 ships, if that makes sense.
Dylan,
So,
can I interject?
yeah? Yeah.
So this is my theory on this, actually, and I actually do have something to bring. I think when they announced Wave 3, you weren't the only one who was down about it and how the lack of content for it.
hmm
I think
That's exactly what I thought,
they're
too.
rushing Wave 4 out as an apology for how little they had in Wave 3. So you
I
get,
agree. That was my read on it, too.
So, like, oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I just think this is their apology. I think they tried to test the water in typical Disney fashion of giving you a bunch of nothing. And they realized that Fantasy Flight fans are smart to that, and they said, no, we're actually kind of disappointed in that. And so they're rushing out Wave 4, which has more content, and they're going to make just a combination Wave 3 and 4, and it'll just be one wave.
Wave 3 and 4 basically makes up 4 ships, which is on par of what we got in Waves 1 and 2. It's a little bit less, but it's a lot closer. Basically, it's just missing a fighter expansion in Wave 2. Yeah, that was my read on it too, and I think at the most it's like I just hope that they're not rushing it and then these ships don't get properly play tested, or that the quality goes down because they're trying to get it out sooner. That's my only fear, but I do trust Fantasy Flight that they'll do the right thing, and that if they're not ready, they will delay it, which they've done it before. And as painful as it was to have to wait longer, the final products were amazing once they came. So I have faith that they'll do the right thing. But yeah, that was exactly my theory on it too.
Okay, so moving on to stuff that's being released, there's a whole series of Star Wars Marvel Epic Collections coming out. And a new Marvel Omnibus. Hold on, let me look it up real quick. But the big omnibus that comes out next week is the Droids and Ewoks.
Oh, okay.
They are giving all the Marvel comics the big treatment, and Matt just left us. I don't know what's up with that. Okay, you got.
We could only.
But what we're. So I was actually looking at the ones that just came out actually in print. Specifically, 2 have come out. Those would be The Empire Volume 2, which I'm not sure what that collects. Let me grab that for you. But the one I was really interested in is the New Republic Volume 2.
Yep.
It has some X-Wing Rogue Squadron. It has half the run. But the Empire Volume 2 collects Dark Times issues 6 through 17, Dark Times Blue Harvest issue 0, Dark Times and Star Wars Dark Times Out of the Wilderness issues 1 through 5. But there's already talk of a new Marvel Epic Collection that has not been released yet. In fact, there's a couple. They're putting the original Marvel years into an Epic Collection, which will have issues 1 through 23, material from Pisa's issue 1 through 16, and Star Wars Weekly UK number 60. There's also a legacy.
So it's a mix. It's a mix between Wild Space and the Marvel.
Yeah.
Run. Which I like. I like that. I like that they're doing that.
Yeah, and that's what they've been doing in the hardcovers, because the third Marvel Years Omnibus has half of the Star Wars Wild Space stuff. Actually, it has most of it. The only thing it has a couple things that aren't in there, like Devil Worlds, for instance, by Alan Moore.
Which you don't need because it's not canon.
Well, it depends on who you talk to about that, because I believe it is in some sort of weird reasoning.
I know your thoughts about it, and that's fine.
Wild Space, what was it? Other Space, I should say.
Yes.
But next, Legacy Volume 1, which is going to collect issues 0 through 19, Dylan.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I actually have the I have the first volume of Legacy in hardcover. So
it's kind of like that, pretty much.
So I would basically wait for the Legacy Volume 2 to come out, and is what I would do, or if I wanted the whole series in print.
And lastly, they have the Rebellion Volume 1, which is going to collect Star Wars Empire issues 7, 14, 16 through 18, Vader's Quest issues 1 through 4, and then the Brian Wood garbage Star Wars series issues 1 through 12, which I think we all agree was not a good Star Wars series.
Let me just say this. First off, I think it's awesome that Marvel's doing this.
Yeah.
Reprinting a lot of the old stuff in nice quality hardback, which a lot of people want to see.
Paperback.
Paperback. That's fine. Either way, I'm glad they're doing reprints and keeping it alive.
Can I add something, Matt? Being a connoisseur of the Marvel trades, these are actually, they're starting to, I think they realized when they did Marvel Now and they made everything more expensive that it was a detriment to them, and I think they lost money. These Epic collections, which retail at $30 to $35 for like 20 issues, is well worth your money. And it's very good binding. Marvel makes high quality trade paperbacks. I find that the glue they use is, as opposed to DC, which has the worst quality omnibuses on the planet. I don't know where that voice came from. But
I still think that they're a tad overpriced, but if you're going to try to track down the alternative original Dark Horse prints, you're going to pay in some cases 3 to 4 times as much.
Yeah, Tales of the Jedi, for instance. I can't wait for them to reprint that.
I don't know why they don't. It would literally be a license to print money if they would re-release Tales of the Jedi.
Tales of the Jedi, the Rogue Squadron series.
Well, they already have half of Rogue Squadron, but
they
had
they
had the Old Republic Volume 1. That was one of the first ones that they started, but it was the first. It was basically the first 20 issues of Knights of the Old Republic.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think they'll just do they'll do like a Birth of the Jedi or something, and they'll do Tales of the Jedi and Dawn of the Jedi all together.
Or maybe they'll do, Dawn of the Jedi. So it'll be Dawn of the Jedi Epic Collection. So they'll get through all of Dawn of the Jedi, then do. Okay, I can see that now.
All of Dawn of the Jedi in one of these Epic collections, and then have some,
and then it would.
I could honestly be because what they did, they had the Infinities one that had the whole Infinities trilogy and the Star Wars, which I actually took a look at that the other day. I was at Barnes & Noble yesterday. Actually.
It also had the Infinities logo and the Legends banner on it at once, which is like
a little redundant, but hey, it is
really redundant.
It is what it is, Dylan. You know.
It makes my brain hurt looking at that.
Oh man, I can't wait for them because they've done a whole bunch of these Marvel Epic collections. They're the hot commodity right now with all of theirs. This is how they're reprinting their older stuff now. They've got a bunch of Spider-Man ones out. They got some Avengers. Moon Knight has one. Luke Cage, I think, has one. I mean, all of these characters are having these Epic collections. They're the hot commodity, and then you're getting these Star Wars ones with a lot. There's some bad stuff mixed in, like they're throwing Tales issues in here or there.
Right, but I think they're doing it. They're releasing them chronologically, so the comics are in chronological order, pretty much.
You would agree they are. The New Republic's a little screwy.
Well, because the New Republic is kind of a mess. I mean, just imagine what's going to happen when they try. Imagine what's going to happen when they try doing Clone Wars Epic collections.
Ooh.
Matt, how would that be? Trying to get the comics in chronological order.
Hey, here's a hint. They'll watch.
Because you are a resident. Because you're a resident.
Right now, it would be a pain. But all right, so you would want Tales of the Jedi if they could reprint something. You would want Tales of the Jedi, right, Dylan?
I would literally go to Marvel's headquarters with my wallet in their hand and just hand it to them. If that happens.
So my question is, Jeremy, what would be the one reprint you would like to see most?
Oh, jeez. Well, I have pretty much everything. But for my subscribers, I like the Knights of the Old Republic one. That's the one I gave away in my 100 subscribers contest. I would like to see all of X-Wing Rogue Squadron or Dark Empire, Crimson Empire. Either of those, which they'll do.
Well, I think Crimson Empire and Dark Empire both can be in the New Republic volumes.
And I'd like to
eventually
see the Zahn, I would like to see any of the classic Star Wars comic strips thrown in there.
Well, they have the original Marvel run, don't they? As an Epic Collection?
Not have the comic strips.
Okay.
It has some. It doesn't have all of them. But they're reprinting those in the paperbacks. So I would like that. I would like to see droids. Any of the Dark Horse Omnibuy that take place before Clone Wars, that are the original, that Star Wars run with Keanu Moody and Ashade Ahet, all of those guys. I would like to see more of those because they did Rise of the Sith. They redid that one. They made an Epic Collection, which I think is out of print now. I think that was one of the most popular ones. But I would like to see more of those. Like if they took Menace Revealed, they put that in there. And Emissaries and Assassins, or Quinlan Voss Jedi in Darkness, which is one I don't actually have. That is one of the few Dark Horse things I don't have.
Mine would be the web strips, the unprinted web strips. I'd really like to see something like that to be something unique. It's something that's never been collected in omnibus before, and I think it would be awesome to have all the web strips. Just like Wallace is really neat. It's great that Marvel's reprinting all this, but give us something we haven't seen yet. However, I think both of yours would happen before mine did.
Yeah. That they probably do yours, Matt, if they have the rights to, if they got all the web strips, which I think they do have some. They've reprinted the Zero issues that were only released online, like Mara Jade by the Emperor's Hand issue 0.
They reprinted those, and they did print a short print of the Clone Wars web strips. They have not done the rest of the stuff that happened around that time too, miscellaneous stuff, leading up to Episode 3, shortly after Episode 3, and around that time during the dark period. And so they have them out there. I know someone's got them in the vault. You know, they all were hyperspace web strips back in the day. You could easily put them in comic book form and give fans something they haven't seen before, a reprint they haven't seen before. But of course, there's a reason those aren't reprinted, because there's not that much. I mean, how many people want to see the life and times of Greedo? You know, not many people. Or
I just read that actually, Matt.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
yeah,
the thing
I have that printed out.
Yeah, I gave you some as a birthday present. And
yeah, that's the first time that's been announced, guys, because he didn't want me to tell you initially. I want to so bad. And he's like, don't do that because everyone will ask for it. And no, Matt does not have another copy of that. That's because Matt and I are bestie pals.
I gave it to you. You're a big comic fan. I knew you'd appreciate it.
Oh, Matt, there was an incident that happened. I had them all in a pile, and I tripped, and the pile went everywhere. So now
okay. I thought you were gonna say, like, I was drinking some water and then I spilled it on them.
I thought I was gonna say, and my mom thought it was my old homework and threw it away.
Mom doesn't throw it anymore because of that. Well, because she accidentally threw my cell phone in the washing machine because it was in my pants. But you know that is neither here nor there.
Now, I want to go back if I can. Are we done with the comic books?
I want to throw in a question that I know wasn't in the script here. One unpublished novel you would want to see.
That I know that's out there, it'd be Escape from Daegu.
Okay.
William C. Ditz's Escape from Daegu. It's completely finished. It should be out there. Blood Oath by Elaine Cunningham. Maybe that's the one. Never mind. I'm gonna switch it on you there. I'm gonna say Blood Oath by Elaine Cunningham. It was a New Jedi Order book that's almost finished. It just never got all the way. It should be close to being finished. If not, it was trying to work on edits.
Mm-hmm.
Lane Cunningham was sick at the time, and so she wasn't able to finish it, though the events of that book are mentioned in future novels. That's how close it was to being done. So that would probably be it. Escape from Dagu. The fairy tale stories, I'd love to see those about Jason and Jana by John Whitman. He wrote 2 that are completed. So, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff out there. But those would probably be in there. And then anything that they had washed up from New Jedi Order. Like the Jedi Eclipse series. I can't remember what it was called. But it looked neat.
All right. Dylan.
What about you,
Dylan? I'm going to go completely unoriginal and say Sword of the Jedi.
Well, Chrissy Golden said she hadn't written it yet. Even though there was a book title and cover art, she hadn't even started on it.
Now we know how Matt feels about Christy Golding.
No, I'm just saying, I just think that's weird that they got a title and cover art when they haven't even got any idea.
That's exactly what she told me. Like, yeah, I never really started writing it. I'm like, I mean, it.
But it was announced that she was writing on it, and it was going to get done soon. But then Disney bought it, and everything went on ice. And then suddenly she went. The report was, yes, she was doing it to where, oh no, I hadn't written anything on it. Which, I mean, that's fine. But of course, I told you, I've heard authors double back on these things. And I like these authors. I mean, Stackpole and Zahn were telling everyone that they had a short story on their computer about Thrawn and Baron Fell, and they really want to do it, but they said, well, we have it ready whenever Lucasfilm wants us to print it. We're ready for it. And then I asked him years later about it. I said, you mentioned this years ago. He went, yeah, I think it was just a concept. It just disappeared. It went from we have it, it's ready to go, to no, it was a concept. So, I mean, that's fine. They want to save those stories for a rainy day, change the names, change the places. I understand that completely.
Mm-hmm.
But, Jeremy, what about you? What would you like to see?
Light Cider by Tom Veitch.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Because that era and that whole time period in the New Republic is fascinating to me. Because we have
the Dark Empire time.
The whole Dark Empire trilogy. I like it and I hate it. It's a love-hate relationship. I think I would love it more if Light Cider had happened, because my big complaint was we got this character that we were supposed to know who he was.
Yeah.
But we had no introduction to him. But there was going to be a novel with, can you imagine Dave Dorman doing art for that book?
Dave Dorman remembers being hired to write that book. He will talk about that book. And he'll ask you if you know about it, and he'll tell you, yeah, he was ready to go, it was ready to happen, and it just never did. And do you know if Tom Veitch ever wrote it?
I think there was a lot of talk that he had written most of it, but, the whole scandal with Knights of the Old Republic and them trying to use Vima Sunrider, and he's saying no, and then there's the he said, she said thing going on. With Lucasfilm and him, and of course, their whole that whole beautiful relationship they had with them, with Tales of the Jedi and the Dark Empire trilogy, fell apart. He says he'll never write Star Wars again. And in the same respect, the final Imperial Commando book would be my close second, just to finish that series out.
Oh, that was
so
never
Tristan
written.
Can stop complaining.
Now you're going to a different field.
Well, that is true. That was never. But it's
because if that was the case, I would say the rest of Dawn of the Jedi era.
That is true.
I would have said Sword of the Jedi. I mean, we're talking about unwritten.
Yeah. But Light Cider's number one. Escape for Dagu in a close second, though, because I'd love to see William C. Ditz write Star Wars again. It's like when Alan Dean Foster gets up off his ass and he actually writes a Star Wars book.
Dylan, did you ever read Dark Empire?
I have the trilogy. It's one of that and Legacy Volume 1 are the only two comics that I have in print. The rest of the comics, the entire collection I have on my phone, but those are the two I have in print. Yes, I've read it.
Okay. Anyway, going to Dylan's board game rant that Jeremy and I completely tuned out of. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
I added in there.
No, I liked it, Dylan. I like your thoughts on that. And by the way, I did try to play, big reveal, I did try to play Armada this weekend. Unfortunately, that did not happen, but that's because I got to play an incredible game from the year 2000 or 99. I think it came out in the year 2000. I think it came out a little bit later after the movie. Star Wars Queen's Gambit.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about, actually.
Which is the grail of Star Wars / board game fan.
Yeah, it is one of the best.
It's an amazing 3 different boards, 3 different battles going on. I played it with a mutual friend of ours, Brian, and I loved every bit of that game. I got my butt whooped, but I loved every minute of that game, except when Brian won, because I really don't like Brian. I'm kidding. No, I don't mind losing at all, but I had the best time, and the whole time I was thinking, this is just great. Unfortunately, and there was one for on eBay that night, and I said, you know what? I'm feeling like we're going to throw money down. We're going to get this game. Well, when the bidding surpassed $330, I had to fold.
Jesus, dude.
I know. It was a bad feeling knowing that I'll never get that game unless I break into Brian's house and steal it. Which the thought did cross my mind. So there you go, Brian. If you see this video, it's you can show it to the police. I stole your game. I'm just so glad he doesn't watch your podcast either. Kidding.
Right.
Yeah, man.
By the way, to all, how many people do we have? To all 5 of you watching this right now, seriously, what does your life come to?
I don't know. We've had a good podcast.
Don't insult your listeners. This is great. I'm glad they're here.
We got fun.
Oh, but speaking of Brian, by the way, the Billboard team has an announcement in that we are working on our second project. Not working on, but because it's not really work. But we have a second project which is going on right now. It's called the Expanded Universe Book Drive, and basically the idea is that you all who supported the Billboard and anyone else who didn't get a chance would essentially buy Expanded Universe books and then donate them yourself to either your local library, a school library, hospitals, anywhere that takes books that would be in circulation so that other people can share them. And it would it's essentially, the idea is to promote the Expanded Universe, get more people exposed to it, and share the love of the Expanded Universe with people who don't know about it. The event ends on July 31st. That's the deadline to send it in. And that we also ask that if there's several library resources that, like, you can look up your local library to see if they have any Star Wars books that are, like, on, I don't know what's called, like, on order or something. Like, they're looking for these books to put into circulation. So you can find out which ones they need. But the idea is basically when you donate it, you would take a picture of yourself donating it to it, and you'd send it to the Facebook page, and we'll compile all of them together as a act of Star Wars fans giving to the community is the idea.
That's really nice.
And
Yeah, I like it. I really like this idea. I know where I'll
and then I sent
my library, though. Darth Plagueis, about 30 copies, Gotta get it.
Then
really
hopefully-
and please don't donate new canon.
right,
Yeah, I'm talking to you, Bruce.
right. Please
you know
don't
what?
donate new
Bruce wants to
canon.
donate all of his new canon stuff. He doesn't like it anyway.
And for those of you watching right now, I'm about to post it into the comments of this. The link to the.
And Dylan, in the comments, if anyone has questions, they can ask right now. We can answer them
Right.
live too. But one of the things, another great idea is actually someone helping me steal Brian's Queen's Gambit game. That's another great idea.
Yeah.
While we're on that subject, I also want to say that on my channel today, I just gave out my first endorsement. I took it seriously, and I do mean it. Waru 2016, I think he is our best bet for the future. You know,
You know what he promised us? He promised us he'd build a wall around Disney and make Bob pay for it.
The Disney can't exactly. He's gonna keep the Chuck Wendigs out of our Star Wars.
well, you know, we have a, you know, they're killing us. They're killing us over there with the new canon. We need a better deal. You know, we need a better. EU fans deserve a better deal, and that's what he's going to give us. Is a better deal.
Because he's a deal maker.
Yes, he is. Well, he knows Waru knows the art of the deal. Let's just call a spade here.
He'll be friends with Dave Filoni. They're friends now, you know.
No.
I mean, yeah, he's talked to a lot of experts, and they all agree that, you know, he is the only choice to make Star Wars great again.
Right.
Hashtag Waru
Exactly.
2016. I mean, it just makes sense. And so, I mean, he won my endorsement. I mean, slowly over the election season, I've just been watching him, listening to what he's saying, and I really like. By the way, I do think his skin is real. You know, the scales with the slime bubbling out of it. I think it's real. People say it's a fake, you know, but I don't believe that. I think it's all real. And that's real. And it's not only what's on Waru's outside; it's what on his inside that matters. Like that intergalactic plasmic goo. You know, I mean, there's a heart probably in there, maybe,
Yeah,
or a brain.
I mean, go around there.
Luke dived in there just to. I mean, he would know better than anyone what's in there, really.
Well, yeah. I mean, Luke had a hand in his, you know, rise to power, I guess you could say.
The Geeks Act just unsubscribed.
You know what, though? I mean, here's the thing. Waru hasn't found a running mate yet. It's down to Jackson and Skippy the Jedi droid. So I just, you know, it's up in the air. Or maybe Jedi Prince Ken. I think that's who he's going with. He may as well bring a Jedi in. It only makes sense. He'll get the four.
He's going to bring a Jedi in. He should probably bring in Kira Holt.
Well, or he'll get the super pack.
Trace would be a good candidate too. You know.
Well, if he gets Ken the Jedi Prince from the Glove of Darth Vader series, he actually has the Force behind him. So how can you not give up that endorsement?
Right. Exactly.
So I would say that's probably his most likely running mate. Waru Ken, 2016. I like it. So we'll see. We'll see. And you know what? Geeks Addict told me personally that he is a closet Waru fan. It just looks bad to say that you are in public, and I understand that. Some people, because Waru said a lot of offensive things, right? Like, I want to take over your universe. I want to destroy the Jedi. I mean, he said some controversial things in the past, but you know what? I think he's been misunderstood a lot. I think we just need to let it go.
Oh, definitely.
And understand that he knows what is best for the expanded universe. I mean, there's just no doubt in my mind. I feel in my heart of hearts, as does Geeks Addict, that Waru is the right choice.
Definitely.
Good.
And by the way, Waru is not taking any big money from anyone. So, you know, I mean, no one's paying him big bucks. He's staying uncorrupted from the new canon because there's no mention of him in the new canon at all. So I mean, he is totally uncorrupted. I think someone offered to feature him in episode 8, the movie, and he said,
"Oh no."
He said, which means no thank you.
Right, exactly. All of our foreign viewers are like, "What the hell is going on right now?"
Well, that you're getting more viewers because we're talking about Waru.
We are actually.
Right. Actually, yeah, we are. We were at 5 viewers. Now we're at 7.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get to your questions here, Dylan, that you have.
Oh, are we at questions yet, or do we still have stuff to talk about?
Yes, we need to talk about how because we talked about the Rebel Raid. How did the Rebel
Oh,
Raid go? Was it about the same, or did we do better this time?
it was about the same. Yeah, it was about the same. We have another one coming up. July.
God,
Basically, it's when Aftermath Life Debt comes out. But yeah, Rebel Raids are always are pretty consistent now. We've cracked down a lot on the for good reason. We've cracked down on the polite making all the comments polite, and participation is about average. So,
Okay.
of course, it was nice to see all the digs with the billboard that went in, because now we have we have the backing of, we're not just complaining online. We spent $4,500 to put a billboard in your backyard to tell you. Yeah. That was $4,500 that could have been spent on Legends books, by the way.
Well, I think it's a positive signal, and I think last week was the last week of the billboard.
Yeah, last week was. It went down sometime last week. We didn't have someone there. The next Rebel Raid is July 12th.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
We didn't have someone there.
But
Oh,
I'm
it's all
very
day.
proud of that. I'm very proud of that billboard. I'm very proud of the message you sent. I'm so happy about all the positive media that went behind it. It was well worth it. So it was good. It was good money well spent. There's tons more people who are asking, hey, Matt, when are we going to do something else like this? What else are we going to I want to support. How can we do this? Well, don't worry. There's going to be plenty of ways to support the movement, and we'll be talking about as time goes by.
Like the book drive that we have going on right now till July 31st.
Right. No, that's one of them. But even more yet to come.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we have plans.
Yeah. What else do you have, gentlemen?
Well, we were going to get
speaking
into
of,
reading, or do you have anything else, Dylan?
well, since we mentioned it, speaking of people not wanting me to give them their money, Lego recently unveiled it wasn't really unveiled. They hit stores. The new line of Star Wars sets for the summer of 2016. And of the 7 sets, only one of them is one that I actually want to buy, which is sad because I love what Lego does, but this wave, there are 2 Force Awakens sets, 2 Rebels sets, 2 sets from the Freemaker Adventures, which is like it's one of the the Lego animated shows that's airing on Netflix right now, which is, by the way, which is not canon. Even though it's Disney canon, it's not canon. So there's still S canon, or there's still N canon, because all the Lego shorts aren't canon. But yeah, and then there's one lone regular set, which is the Clone Turbo Tank, which has both Luminar Unduli and Quinlan Voss in it, which I'm actually excited for because both of those characters we've had in Lego before, but I actually have the figures right here. There's a thing that they both were in the Clone Wars style sets, which, if you don't know, the Clone Wars style sets had a weird way of painting the faces. Like, the eyes are really big, and they try to add a lot of external makeup and make them cheekbone. They tried to overdo it on the features, and it just looks silly and cartoonish. Whereas the normal ones, the regular ones, look a lot better, at least in my opinion and a lot of people's opinions. But we're finally going to get those 2 minifigures in the normal paint style for the face, which I'm very excited for. But other than that, yeah, it's 1 set out of 7 that I'm actually be spending my money on.
Well, let's get into collecting real quick, since Dylan's been on. Let's see. Matt has a near-complete EU collection. Dylan collects Legos, and I've been really hitting the comics hard. So, Can I start? Can I start this section?
Yeah.
I
Go right ahead.
Sure.
X-Wing Rogue Squadron in single issues over the weekend. I completed it.
That's nice.
I have everything, including the Applejacks one-shot. And then I am halfway done with the original, well, the first Dark Horse Star Wars self-titled, with Keonda Moody and a shaved head that became Republic. I have over half of that now. So I'll be working on that and completing that. I've been working on that like it's going out of style lately. What about you, Matt? Do you have nothing right now? Have you collected anything recently?
No, I don't have anything that I've been collecting. I mean, Star Wars wise, I basically have it all that I know of. I mean, there could be something else out there, but right now I'm doing pretty good on that side of the collecting angle. What about Dylan?
I was going to introduce you, Dylan. What are you doing? What are you collecting lately besides your Lego and Armada?
Besides my Legos and Armada, I mean, Star Wars books. Every paycheck, I make a little bit of dent into my all paperback collection because that's what I can afford, paperbacks.
Yeah, it was a little taxing getting all hardcover for Post Jedi. I can tell you that.
Yeah. But I'm making dents here and there. I have an almost complete Post Jedi collection actually in paperback. It will be complete as soon as I make enough money that I can actually afford the Junior Jedi Knights books.
Yeah,
those are going to be rough.
I saw. I didn't have money in my budget. I almost jumped on those over the weekend, but I didn't. Yeah, that's my hard one, and I also just need to bite the bullet and buy the rest of the X-Wing novels, and then I'm done with my Post-Jedi collection. Because I have pretty much everything in hardcover that came out in hardcover at this point. But my thing is, don't you hate when it just only comes out in paperback?
Yeah, Matt and I talked about this a couple days ago.
Yeah, like Cross Current and Riptide, for instance, only came out in paperback.
The entire X-Wing series
only came out in paperback. The Tales from the New Republic only came out in paperback. God, the Last Republic Commando novel came out only in paperback.
I didn't know that one was only in paperback.
Yep.
Yeah, because Matt and I had a conversation on Skype of what would be, or I think he's already talked about this, but what would be our most wanted hardcover reprints that were only available in paperback.
Yeah, what would be yours, Jeremy?
Oh, God, probably either the Republic Commando, like a whole omnibus of all 5 books, or X-Wing in hardcover. And then probably either Cross Current Riptide or the Junior Jedi Knights, because Jedi Prince made it to hardcover, and the Junior Jedi Knights didn't. And to me, that's just ridiculous, because no one really likes Jedi Prince at all. In fact, I'm dreading reading them because everyone tells me they're horrible. And plus, my copies smell like cigarettes.
Ew.
Yeah, I know. A few of my books ended up that way. That's the problem with buying in bulk on eBay. Sometimes things like that happen. But yeah, there's just weird. It was weird what was decided to be put in hardcover and what wasn't. Because I mean, you have Scourge in hardcover, but you don't have Cross Current and Riptide.
I thought that was weird too.
It's just they put Dawn of the Jedi into the Void in hardcover. They didn't deserve a hardcover. It'd be that.
Not
Well,
very
everything in the
good.
new canon so far has been in hardcover.
Yeah, in fact, a lot of it's only available in hardcover still. Aftermath only
Right. Well, they're
cover. They only just released Parts of the Sith in paperback.
yeah. It's like I think it's like 6 to 8 months is how long Del Rey's been waiting on the new ones for the paper to make the paperback reprints. At least that's what I've been seeing because I have to follow exactly what they do so I know when to hit them with raids.
Have you guys looked at how the new canon paperbacks look as compared to the Legends one?
Oh yeah, they're like weird. They're like
a quarter.
They're like long,
taller.
They're longer and they're taller.
Yeah,
it looks bizarre.
What's even weirder is they did a really oversized paperback that collects New Dawn, Tarkin, and then has 3 short stories by John Jackson Miller and James Luceno. And it's like the same size as a hardcover. I don't know. You know what's really gone up in price in hardcovers? The New Dawn. I was looking. I frequent eBay and I look at hardcovers because I'm trying to get A.C. Crispin's Han Solo trilogy in hardcover right now. That's my big one I'm working on. I'm just waiting for a good price. But I noticed that with these hardcovers, A New Dawn's the only one that's expensive. Aftermath's like $5 a pop.
Right. Well, that's because what happened was the secondary market flooded with people trading in their Aftermath novels, that there are just so many out there in stores that the stores just don't know what to do with them anymore. So I actually think the stores are paying you to buy a copy of the Aftermath just to get it out their hands. I mean, I really do.
Got rid of their last copies. I was there, a month ago, and there was dust on the Aftermath books. Dust. And they were like 20% off. But anyway, are we done with collecting? Yeah.
I guess so. Guess we're on to what we're reading.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm going to be collecting Brian's game.
Yeah.
I think Brian actually is watching because I sent him a link in the billboard. I sent them all a link to the thing in the billboard.
Good, I hope he is. I like how you pause in mid-sentence. Okay, while Dylan is infatuated with whatever he's looking at, which is probably another Armada expansion.
No, I'm looking at the questions.
No, you don't have to tell me. We'll talk about it when you're older. So Dylan had like a list of questions to ask.
But okay, do we want
to do questions first or what we're reading?
Dylan's looking at Bikini Hobbits. Okay, that's what he's looking at. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and just say it right there.
Bikini Walrus, more like it.
Ooh, now.
All right, so are we going questions first or what we're reading? How do we want to end it?
Oh, well, we could go with what you were reading. To be honest with me, I haven't been reading hardly anything. I just haven't had time between all my travels and everything. I haven't. I do have a list, like a big stack of things to read when I do eventually have some time. I'm hopefully going to start in the next couple of weeks taking out some of those books. So there's a lot of stuff I want to read that's out there.
Okay.
But go ahead. Dylan, what are you reading?
I am reading Cross Current by Paul S. Kemp. So I just finished Legacy of the Force within this week. I freaking read Invincible in a day because I just had to know, even though I knew how it had to end, I just had to actually read it.
Did you cry?
I didn't cry. The only time I ever cried was X-Wing Iron Fist. But Troy Denning needs to be... I'm actually thinking of filing criminal charges against him for assaulting my feels with that book.
No,
man, was it good.
That was how the outlines were divided up.
It wasn't his fault. But he did kill... spoiler alert. Actually, a lot of people died. In fairness, I actually think in that series, Karen Traviss had a higher kill count of named characters or named previously established characters in the series.
Okay.
But because Troy Denning had the big one, he gets all the blame, I guess. Well,
Yeah.
Karen Traviss did have a big one too.
That's right. Yeah, she did. That was Karen Traviss. I know what you're talking about.
Meanwhile, Aaron Olson is just like, hey, I was here too. We're like, Aaron, you're amazing. Anyway, what are you reading?
I'm reading several things right now. Some not Star Wars, some not Star Wars, of course. People know this. Frank Miller's Daredevil run, been plowing through that. Aliens Earth Hive, which is written by Steve Perry, who wrote Shadows of the Empire, our greatest book ever written. Let's see here. Reading Crisis on Infinite Earths, blah, blah, blah. But you don't want to hear about that. You want to hear Star Wars. I'm reading one new canon novel and some EU comics. New canon novel, I'm finally reading Lost Stars by popular demand. I'm actually pretty much enjoying this book. And I've gone back and I'm reading the Star Wars Marvel Years Omnibus, and I'm reading the A New Hope's movie adaptation. Which, God, that art is gorgeous. It is really good art for it. It's a product of its time, of course, but the way they draw Darth Vader in that is scary. Matt, you remember that?
Which one was it again? I'm sorry.
The Marvel, the original Marvel Comics Star Wars, how they drew Darth Vader.
Well, he's drawn like kind of skull-like.
Yeah.
And he's got red eyes, and everyone questions this, but if you look at the A New Hope, his eyes are slightly scarlet red in A New Hope, and that's why they came across in the dailies and they saw red eyes. They thought that was really cool, so he has red eyes in the comic book, which is kind of neat.
And that first panel with him as he's choking that guy to death.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I'm glad you're finally getting around to reading that. It's good stuff. I can't wait to review it.
Yeah. It'll be coming really soon.
Oh, at least in the next 2 years.
Yeah,
exactly.
Next couple days, I should say.
Hey, what if I pull a George R.R. Martin on you and just die right before I finish this series?
You mean Robert Gordon?
Hey, you know what? It's going to happen when I review Lightsider.
And I'll pick up the pieces for you, Matt.
There you go. Pick up the mantle, right?
Yeah.
My wife sells my collection
So cool.
on there and makes millions.
God, I can only imagine your collection going up on eBay. She would just bid the whole house.
Yeah. She wouldn't get as much as she bid the house. I'm kidding.
It'd be like Sam Spade's apartment from the Maltese Falcon.
In all honesty, Matt, your collection belongs in the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
Because
Or the Library of Commerce.
No, Rancho Obi-Wan.
with Sansweet.
Yeah. So, stupid questions, Dylan.
All right, so the first question is from Frank Miller's Evil Hat. He wants to know, you guys still live? Are we still live?
No, I've been dead in the sun since you started speaking to me.
No, he said, like, are we still live on the podcast? So I think we are, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this was like 3 weeks ago, so we're still live now. But
I did the day the EU got discontinued. So
Matt's felt like killing himself ever since.
I died the day we had to have Minox Nest. 19 and 19 and a half. My soul died.
And then Dark Snovia has 3 questions for us.
Oh, of course he does. Yeah, Dark Snow, you have to ask the most complicated questions every time. It involves me to think, and thinking is a bad thing. I learned this from Gaston.
And you say I antagonize our viewers. So Dark Snovia says, if the story group put you in charge, what would you do to make the new canon better?
I would start tying things to. I'd put Charles Soule in charge of Marvel Comics because he's actually tying things together. The last issue of Poe Dameron tied into Before the Awakening, the young adult novel.
Mm-hmm.
I would put him in charge of that era. I would put certain authors in certain areas. I would put James Luceno in charge of everything post A New Hope. Just the way the story group works, I'd fire all of them, first of all. They all have to be fired. And then I'd take charge, and I would start connecting things together, having to write little retcons here or there for whatever Rebels episode it is, or whatever Jason Aaron's Marvel Star Wars thing is going on. I don't know. Some of it's such a mess, though. You got Jason Aaron's Marvel Star Wars and Kieran Gillen's Darth Vader, which is ending, which we didn't even talk about. It's ending at issue 25. And they are such a continuity mess, and they're so hard to follow. And I have to put a whole team on that just to get it so in a good reading order, because it's just such a mess. Matt would say I'd probably throw it in the garbage and not think about it ever.
Right. I would I would take the new canon and I would take it out back with a shotgun and just put it out of its misery. And then I would dust off the old canon, the old expanded universe, and I'd say, okay, I want everyone that worked on this prior, I want you all back and make it good again. We're going to get Warro, too, because, obviously Warro for president. He's going to make Star Wars great again. But, yeah, that's what I would do. I would just take it out back and put it out of its misery and get the old crew back to make the old canon the new canon.
What I would do, we're talking about if we took over this new canon, is this correct? Just to make sure I understand the question. Okay. Well, the first thing I would do, I would involve the council, the story group, and definitely delete Pablo's Twitter account as well. And then I would probably have the rest of the council dress up in Ewok costumes as they walk around Lucasfilm, and they can wear the little Wookiee mask from Target or Kohl's, whatever, if they want to. But that's the only thing. Whatever robotic noise comes out of their mouth is the only thing they're allowed to make inside Lucasfilm. Outside they can talk, like regular people, but inside we're going to keep them speaking nonsense. And what we're probably going to do after that is, we'll continue it, but instead of the regular authors that we have slated for these, I'm just going to have a contest between which third grader wants to write the next book, and just give them a shot, because hey, we got to have dreams, right? And just give a random fan just a shot to write a story, whatever they want it to be about. It's fine. And then as I'm doing that, because then everyone's going to be having fun at this point. And then probably at that point also head up a Legends department, and we can keep pumping out stuff that's Legend stuff, not related to the new stuff. That way, nothing trips over the movies. I've got a bunch of fans writing, stories for Star Wars that, we'll make sure it doesn't appeal to. They can't write about the new characters unless it, we'll fit it. We'll make sure it doesn't, contradict anything from the new movies. Maybe go ahead and just cancel Rebels, because, if you can't get, 400,000 people to watch the show, the ratings, it's just a ratings just hole. It's just a big ditch that's just sucking the life of everything. So we'd probably cancel that one. Probably put in something else. I'm thinking about the Jar Jar Binks variety show, like it's a comedy hour. where he gets up there and does a few stand-up, and then he brings in some of his friends, like, Dexter, and who's the guy from Clone Wars, Zero the Hutt, Stinky, gets out there and he poots, and that's what kind of does the little segue between, gags and whatnot. But I think it'd be funny, that we would do that. I think it would be all-inclusive to have everyone there. And I think, hello, Mr. Jar Jar Binks. Welcome to the Jar Jar Binks. Fun hour. Waka waka. Well, that's kind of like Fozzie Bear, but it doesn't matter because we own the rights to that too. So we could probably include Muppets. I think there needs to be more Muppets in Star Wars as well, because we're not including them, and that's not being all-inclusive, and we need to be all-inclusive of everything, even Muppets, which don't get represented.
Matt, there was that Star Wars Muppet special in the 80s. If you remember.
Those Star Wars what? I'm sorry?
There's the Muppet special of Star Wars where Mark Hamill was on there as Luke Skywalker.
Well, I think we'll write that into the canon. I mean, obviously that can fit within the canon now, because if you admit it, Animal is wearing actual space diapers in that one, which actually is a connection there.
That's trademarked now, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe it is, and we'll keep the helicopter flying Jedi from Rebels.
Well, they're not Jedi; they're Sith. They're Inquisitors.
Yeah. Okay.
Because for the first time ever, there are these dark Jedi that run under Palpatine called Inquisitors for the first time ever, and they hunt Jedi or something.
I will
it's
tell
all
you
completely
how,
original.
I will tell you how the third season of Rebels would end. With what's the kid's name?
Space Aladdin
from Rebels. What's the kid's name?
Ezra, I think is what his name is.
Ezra. Okay, Ezra. I would have Ezra find his long-lost brother Aladdin and fly away together. I'd give him a happy ending. And who's the cowboy Jedi?
That would be, God, what is his name? Kanan.
Okay, I'd have him find Flynn Rider. Remember, it's all in one universe now. And they would get tangled up in some mess, pun intended. And they would probably, go on some zany adventure. I would do a lot of crossovers between them and the Disney characters and the Muppets. I think we would see, because I think, what do you guys think? You think that'd be a great idea? I mean, am I just talking to
one thing, there would be a second holiday special.
A second? Oh, we're turning that into an annual thing.
Yeah.
It's going to come with something every year, and it's going to be
on it this time, I can see it now. You put Kesha on there.
Well, it's going to be called The Wise of Kashyyyk. It's going to be a reality show where Mala and a bunch of the other Wookiees just whine and moan over how their husbands are always gone, trying to serve Ike debt. It's just ridiculous stuff.
How they thought a planet fell on them, but that was just how they thought a planet fell on them, but that was just a legend.
Well, I mean, yeah, no, that's legend, so that's something different. But we could have another one called Life with Lumpy. He just calls himself the Lump.
Another one, Little Ewoks, Big World. A bunch of Ewoks go to Coruscant, and it's how they live there.
That is a fantastic idea. So that is what episode 8 is about. Why are you limiting that to a TV show? That is episode 8. An Ewok in Coruscant's court. That's exactly what it's going to be. And it's going to be just like, oh man, it's going to be great. A Jedi's going to ignite his lightsaber. He's like, who's there? And Ewok goes, Wika! Pee-pee! And he tinkles in the hallway because he's so scared and runs away. It's going to be cute and funny, adorable. We'll put fart jokes in it too, so the masses will laugh.
Anyway,
I think it'd be a good villain. So I mean, honestly, I've been cheating Dark Novia because I am reading out of the playbook of what Warro do. So, I mean, this is Warro's ideas for a new Star Wars. And I'm sorry to go back to my political platform here, but I really got to admit he has some great ideas here that we should be using. I just think that Warro is just coming up with some great, just solid ideas. This is just, it's like, look at this one, lick a death stick. There's 3 sticks, and one of them's a death stick, one of them's a Hutt tail, and the other one's, well, it's a mystery. And you lick each one. And, I mean, Jar Jar could come on there and like, yeah, and I get his, tongue stuck on a death stick. It's funny, man.
What if it was...
Brian, I'm going to steal your game.
We still have 3 questions left.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
4 if you count the one that we just got, because Matt said we'd answer them live. So Dark Snovia's second question. Would you rather read the Aftermath trilogy or Stephenie Meyer's Twilight?
Twilight. It's the sexiest book ever. Actually, I'd have to go with the better version of Twilight, 50 Shades of Grey.
Now, is he talking about all 4 novels? Is he talking about all 4 novels, or are you just saying the first novel, Twilight, or the one novel?
I think he means the series.
Oh, definitely. I go for Sparkling Vampires.
Yeah. Or I don't know, Matt.
I would probably say
and I could just have a 50 podcast where we just talk about.
That's a great question, by the way. But what's the next one?
Which movie do you think is worse, Star Trek Into Darkness or Force Awakens? I haven't seen either of them, so I'm not going to say anything.
Into Darkness.
I think Into Darkness is horrible, but I have never seen the other one, so I can't answer one either.
Force Awakens is a retread, but Into Darkness, because they marketed it as it not being Khan and then it was Khan, that's shameful.
It's not so good. What's the other question, Dylan? You said we had another question, new question.
Well, there was a bonus question. Since I know how much you hate Ahsoka, what did you think happens to her in the Legends continuity?
Vader kills her.
Yeah.
But specifically, no. What probably happens to Ahsoka is during Purge, it would probably be some sort of, I could see it now, a Karen Traviss Imperial Commando story. Mm-hmm. Okay? They hunt down Ahsoka, but Vader shows up, and he's like, I'll deal with her. And she figures out it's him, and then he beheads her.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
And also there's a redeeming of Mandalore as well.
Okay, well, you want to say that Vader killed her. That's the obvious go here for me.
Mm-hmm.
But what if, and just hear me out, what if they did a very unique and tragic story, I'm being serious, mm-hmm. of where, like she was discussing with the Jedi Order, but she couldn't get out of her own, maybe she just gets disgusted with life and everything, and I'm not playing around here, commits suicide, and you have this sad story of someone who feels all alone. I mean, seriously, we've never seen anything like that, where someone's taking their own life just because they're just so miserable, and it could maybe a Jedi is trying to help her prior to the Clone Wars ending, or maybe after everything happens and Darth Vader's going around and he's slaughtering Jedi, Darth Vader's coming to kill her, and she just goes ahead and kills herself because she's just so miserable and sad about the whole ordeal. Now, I think that would be a tragic story, and that Vader finds her dead. What do you think?
I can add to that. She goes to Tatooine and finds Obi-Wan and says, let's start the order back up, and he says, no, I have prior duties to that. Sort of what. Oh, can I spoil a little legacy here?
Sure.
I think I can. So Darth Krot is
a shithead at the time.
And they talk about a backstory where a shithead, after Order 66 happened, went back to his Tusken Raider roots, and he ended up.
Don't call him that.
What? What are you doing? What are you doing?
I call him a Sharid.
It's a shade.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh my God, Matt! You call Darth Plagueis Darth Plagius, and you say corpse instead of course. So do not ever talk to me about.
And you say Talon. Do you say Talon Card when it's been established as Talon Card?
No, I've always pronounced them the way that I've always read them.
Anyway, go on.
Anyway, I'm pronouncing it the way I read it. Thank you very much. Anyway,
no problem with that.
So they fight. Obi-Wan and Shid fight, and Obi-Wan disgraces him from his other Tusken Raider companions or tribesmen, and they abandon him and leave him to die, and this causes him to go to the dark side. So
I thought it was in the Long War that he went to the dark side.
He seeks out What's-Her-Face, and then he gets the Vong attached to him, and he gets thrown in that 100-year coma. He gets put in that 100-year coma, and he waits for his time to strike, sort of thing. But he blames Obi-Wan for his leading him to the dark side. Typical Sith fashion, you know. We've got to blame Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm.
Blame Obi-Wan for everything. Poor Obi-Wan. But
anyway, go on.
But yeah, Ahsoka would go to him, and he'd say no, but he wouldn't tell her why Luke was important. And I think she realizes at the end why Luke's important. But it's too little, too late, and yeah. I like that suicide idea.
But yeah, I think it would be something nice and tragic. And I'm not trying to be mean or ugly here. I'm just saying it's just an idea that her own, what is it? She gives up hope, and she has this hopelessness, and it's just a sad case. And as Vader's coming, she feels that she knows how he's been twisting everything. And before he even gets to her, there is no epic battle. There is no epic showdown. There is no epic. It's just a sad ending to a fallen Jedi. And Vader doesn't care. He just moves on. And you're left to wonder, oh man, that's just sad. I know it wouldn't make a lot of people happy, but I think it would be something tragic and a nice twist than what we always see.
But
do you have any other questions, Dylan?
Well, we have, since you said we would answer questions live, we do have one question from this podcast that's on the, if you want us to answer that now.
Bring it.
It's from Indigo Grimm, who asks, what Legends Lego sets would you want to see in a hypothetical universe where Legends isn't ignored?
I don't buy Legos, but it'd have to be the Vong.
That was going to be my answer, too.
It has
because
to be the Vong.
I'm going to go different. I'd like to see a Kyle Katarn and his ship. And
Moldy Crow. There's actually on Lego Ideas a Moldy Crow that's there.
Yeah.
That's first ups, but it's not. It doesn't have nearly enough.
Okay, say that we get three. Say that we get three choices here, and my other two are Tales of the Jedi.
Oof. Oh, dude, can you imagine those Golden Age of the Sith ships with the sails?
Yeah, that would be just really awesome, I think. Dylan, do you have a second one?
Mine would basically, well, because it's Lego set. Like you guys are, I guess, because you guys don't. Well, Jeremy collects Legos, so he's know what it is. But
as a kid, yeah.
In my, like a Lego set is a thing, right? And they've had Legends Lego sets in the past. There was a TIE droid, which I think was the first ever. Then there was the TIE. Then recently, which I have in my collection, there was, most recently, even after the Disney Purge, they did the Azure Angel in Lego. There's also a TIE Defender, which I have. There is, even though it's not called it, there's essentially what's an E-Wing, that I have as well, and there's Old Republic sets too. So they've done Lego Expanded Universe in the past, and a lot of it is stuff that I've actually wanted to see, and I already have it. But if I was going to get anything, 3 sets, one would have to be a Yuuzhan Vong Coral Skipper. That would have to be one with a Vong minifigure, obviously, and maybe a Jedi as well.
Agreed.
Second would be, because they already did. No, they did V19 Torrents, which I want one, but it's so expensive. It's way out of my price range. But I'm gonna go.
Go ahead.
For
For me, it's a no-brainer. The third one has to be Dark Empire. World Devastators, V-Wings. I mean, I think that's the way to go. Those would be the 3 right there.
Oh, okay. We're doing 3. I want the Minok, Cade Skywalker's ship.
Nice.
Jeez. Slave 2, Dark Empire 1.
That's awesome. That's an awesome idea.
Oh,
UCS Ultimate Collector Series Centerpoint Station.
And an Infinity Gate.
Good ones.
And then obviously, there has to be a Waru minifigure.
Oh,
I mean, that's just a given.
Walrus.
There is. It's just the yellow block. You can
But I would
make
like
a
to see.
Waru Lego figure. You just paint the scales on a yellow block.
Okay, so third, this is totally cheating, but third would be a Lego Luke's New Jedi Order Jedi Council on Ossus.
Ooh.
Basically, so I'd have a minifigure of all the Jedi Masters from post Order.
Oh, dude, I could have gone with the Jane Sabe from Vector Prime.
Hmm.
That would have been cool, too. We could come with a Mara
That's a great
Jade
question.
figure.
Great question. Wow. This has actually been a very productive podcast.
It's
I know.
not pretty terrible.
Just start at like the 20-minute mark, you know.
I don't know. My intro was pretty good.
Your intro of copying off someone else's music, so now this
Oh,
great
it-
podcast is going to get flagged, and no one's ever going to be able to see it.
You remember when
Are you about to do your great outro?
I don't no because Dylan's throwing a hissy fit. I can't do it.
Look, Jen Sarai already got hit. They're hating us Star Wars Expanded Universe people. We need to be careful.
Oh, I am so warm right now because I got the. Buddy decided he had to sleep on me in the beginning of the podcast, so my legs are just completely sweat. Right now, it's just I got the swamp thing going on because he decided that Dylan was so boring he had to fall asleep.
Well, that's my charm.
Dylan, you and charm do not exist in the same sentence.
Right.
Unless the lack of is in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
If I could steal 3 things, one would be the original scripts that George Lucas wrote. 2 would be all the unpublished material that's at Lucasfilm, and 3 would be Brian's Queen's Gambit game.
I'm just going to message Brian to never watch this podcast.
No, I'm going to message Brian to watch this podcast.
Actually, message him and ask him what time he's going to be home. And make sure it's precise, because I don't want to be around when he gets back. He's going to be ticked off.
Is that a wrap, guys?
That is it, folks. Thank you so much for having me on this. This has been a lot of fun. I'm glad that I got to answer questions, confess to future crimes, and just have a great time talking to you.
I think Matt's our first repeat guest,
Oh, I should
actually.
Big Mac, that'll be your nickname now, Matt. Big Mac.
Right. A few more and we'll have you as a co-host.
Yeah.
To everyone watching, stay tuned. Fun stuff on this channel. Jeremy's channel's on the rise, baby.
It is.
You're at 200. Actually, just check. You're at 200 subscribers now.
Am I really?
What?
Yeah.
He just hit 200,
Oh,
and the celebration begins.
Oh god, now it's time for the contest.
So
Cue the Yub Nub song.
Well, what you do, Jeremy, is you take off your shirt and run wildly through the room live screaming, I did it, I did it.
Here, let me just unsubscribe so it goes back to 199. Just kidding.
There we go.
There you go. So nice. Folks,
Is this
please
the original
join
one or the new one?
and 200 subscribers as he plays music, dances with me. There he is. Look at him. A happy man.
Bill just commented he just worked a 13-plus hour day. Pretty sure he can get in and out without you knowing.
Hey, folks, what should Jeremy do for his 200th subscription?
Comment down below.
Yes. Should he A, party like it's 1999, B, stop reading the new canon, or C, help me steal Brian's Queen's Gambit game from his house? You decide.
The reprise is either way.
Matt,
Or
I'm
D,
just gonna
all of the above.
dial 91 as a precaution.
Alright, anyway guys, have a nice day.